Why did Kit Young bring guns to a social gathering? What happened in a fight scene that gave Amita Suman permanent scarring? And how did Ben Barnes make a fool of himself with his dancing skills?
No.
Hi, I'm Dylan, and you're watching OSSA Movies. Fancy a hump? Get your mind out of the gutter, people. We're here to talk about camels, as well as other animals that populate the Grishaverse. The set of Shadow and Bone had a bunch of majestic creatures hanging around each day, and they probably acted more professional than the cast. That's because Jessie Mei Li and her pals couldn't resist unleashing their goofy sides around them. Watch here as they creep up on a camel and a llama, making silly sounds in the process.
What are we gonna see today? The camel. The llamas.
It looked like Jessie was trying to be sneaky like a ninja there, but her co-stars and their unrecognizable accents ruined her mischievous plan. I hope they don't act this way when they play hide and seek. Just a bunch of Mad Hatters. Say what you will about the people and creatures you find in the magical kingdom of Ravka, but they certainly know how to dress the part. Every character in Shadow and Bone has swag, and the Netflix series has undoubtedly inspired some truly wondrous cosplays for years to come. So it should come as no surprise to learn that the cast had some fun messing around with the wardrobe accessories that were available to them.
If you would indulge us.
Just one more?
Just
Now
one
we're
more
cooking with
hat.
gas.
Hats like you.
Now that's how you rock some groovy headwear and stay warm in the winter. Ben Barnes, meanwhile, was the scarf guy of the group, as you'll see in this next clip.
Some kind of scarf or shawl, I think. Yeah, perfect.
Ben might receive some fashionable threads in the mail, but his co-star Kit Young hasn't been so lucky. You see, Kit had his eye on some specific garments, but the costume designers weren't willing to part with their materials to accommodate the actor's needs.
But they wouldn't let me take any of the costume pieces. But that was probably because I asked, and I thought I was just really annoying.
Poor show. But you know what they say, if you really want something, you have to take it. And the Shadow and Bone crew had no problem breaking the rules for their own material gain from time to time, getting up to no good. Don't let these nice young actors fool you. They're prone to the odd bit of misbehavior, especially theft. Granted, some of them were able to resist the temptation, but that's probably because they sought boring stuff every day. Take Archie Renault, for example. He just wanted to make sure his pants didn't fall down.
I thought about stealing a belt, but then I just didn't get around to doing it.
I had Alina's prosthetic that I still have at home.
That said, Archie is a goody two-shoes angel compared to his colleagues who chose to live on the dangerous side of the tracks. Those rascals had no problem taking things from the set, and they had their eyes on deadlier objects than belts.
Guns.
Yeah. Knives.
Cane. I've got 4 of them.
Let's not judge them too much, though. Shadow and Bone is the type of show that turns actors into legit badasses. So you can understand why some of them were drawn to the various weapons that just so happened to be lying around for the taking. In fact, daggers and firearms became such a natural part of their everyday lives that they just couldn't help themselves. But just how did these young actors go from being innocent angels to highly trained warriors? Pain and gain. Jesper Fahey might be the most skilled sharpshooter in the dregs, but Kit Young didn't go into Shadow and Bone as the greatest gunslinger in all of Ravka. However, he knew that he had to learn quickly. So began his epic transformation, but it took a minute.
It's always that thing in script where it says, he's the greatest in the world. And so suddenly I had to be really, really, really good at it.
In addition to being inexperienced with deadly weapons in the beginning, Kit was a Butterfingers who could have caused a serious accident if he was given a loaded revolver right away.
Stunt team gave me a couple of these revolvers, kind of stunt ones made from rubber. And I dropped one immediately and it smashed everywhere.
However, they say that practice makes perfect, and it didn't take long until Kit was slinging those guns around like he was the second coming of Clint Eastwood. In fact, he was so dedicated to his training that he couldn't even go to a party without his pistols. After mastering the art of holding props without dropping them, the stunt team let Kit upgrade to the real thing, much to the actor's delight. You'd think that season 1 of Shadow and Bone coming to an end would give Kit time to relax, but he hasn't been able to put his guns down during the off-season either.
They go absolutely everywhere with me. So,
You've got guns with you?
they're always there. Always there.
Kit walked out of Shadow and Bone fairly unscathed following his early bouts of clumsiness. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about Amita Suman. One gruesome fight scene saw her lose some of the skin on her finger after it got caught in her opponent's belt. Most of us would cry like babies if a chunk of our skin went missing, but Amita just laughed it off because she's a trooper.
And I went to check on her belt and it was just kind of hanging there, and this is the scar that I'm left with.
These stories make filming Shadow and Bone sound like a dangerous experience, but some of the cast members took a more relaxed approach to their training. Jessie Mei Li perfected her craft by mimicking magic poses from the comfort of her room and sharing the footage on social media. Of course, a show that's as physically intense as Shadow and Bone means that the actors have to work out in order to build their strength and keep up with the pace. Some of the gang even worked out together, which led to some unconventional exercise routines being carried out, to say the least.
Coming on. Give it smoother.
Getting physical didn't always involve fighting or working out, though. Sometimes the cast just liked to let their hair down and bust a move. Who's the best dancer? Shadow and Bone is the biggest thing in fantastical entertainment at the moment, but don't act shocked if the cast decides to call it quits and join Dancing with the Stars. These hotshots spent a lot of time showing off their mad dance skills, mastering everything, a variety of different styles in the process. If traditional Russian dancing is your thing, this fellow will inspire you to sport a Cossack and lean down low. But if boogieing with a buddy is more your cup of tea, check out Freddie Carter and Amita Suman dropping it like it's hot. Amita seems to be the most prominent dancer in the group, and her energy was infectious during the filming of Shadow and Bone. She even managed to convince Kit to put his guns down for a few seconds and get involved in the shenanigans. Given that dancing was so common on the set, the cast all had plenty of opportunities to judge each other's moves and rate them accordingly. And one stood out from the rest of the pack as the best of the best. And it wasn't Amita. So you just know that the winner must have been pretty fly.
Yeah.
Bust out some flamenco dancing one night.
Yeah, I think I probably
I've been
did.
more impressed.
There's all of that, and there's all of that stuff going on. You know.
There's no denying that Kit has some serious rhythm, but who was the worst dancer of the bunch?
Is it me?
I saw some nice moves in the gym with you and Cal.
Oh yeah, there is
got
a
some moves.
video of me dancing.
Judging by what we just witnessed in that clip, Ben isn't even that bad. Cut the guy some slack. Then again, Ben had other ways of making an impression on everyone. Who's the biggest flirt? With so many hotties in the Shadow and Bone cast, it was inevitable that they'd engage in some flirtatious behavior from time to time.
I don't recall this being part of the schedule.
But none of them could hold a candle to Ben, who was unanimously hailed as the show's ultimate Lothario by his peers. Here's what they had to say on the matter.
Ben flirts with me a lot.
Ben.
Yeah, Ben's a flirt.
Ben.
Yeah.
And the best part? Ben doesn't even deny it.
Do you know, I would go with Ben, I think.
Just don't let his good looks and cheeky charisma fool you. Ben might possess enough charm to make anyone feel smitten, but he's also the biggest dork around. According to his co-stars, he spent a lot of time getting them to improve their vocabularies in an effort to impress the show's creators.
Ben was like the sort of language police a little bit.
Then again, if it wasn't for Ben, his colleagues wouldn't have been able to speak their lines as well as they did.
Ben took it upon himself. He recorded essentially a glossary with all the right pronunciations that we all got sent, and it was actually like such an important thing.
Go Ben! If you want to learn more about Shadow and Bone's lesser known details, be sure to check out our video on what really went down behind the scenes. Share your thoughts in the comments, and while you're at it, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And stay super awesome!